this first one, for people who have the checkbook, it was about the idea of being a firstborn, or called a new life. 355.
Yeah.
A new life, a bundle of joy, your flesh, your blood, your love, your life. This little child, an individual, is yet an extension of you. A new life, a bundle of joy, your hair, your eyes, your laugh, your cry. This little child, a separate life, is yet an extension of you. A new life, a bundle of you, mirroring your smile, reflecting your love, being your life. This little child, this life that's new, will always be an extension of you. First. It's still stuck. I have to do my first poem I ever wrote. Your first too. I figured the next one will have to be the first poem I ever wrote. I might as well share that one. This is called Under the Sea. I'd like to be under the sea to watch the fish go swim. I'd like to squish a jellyfish and then let go of him. I'd like to grab a soft-shelled crab and take him for a walk. I'd like to hurdle over a turtle and teach dolphins to talk. I'd like to see a manatee and then go play by him. I'd like to do all of these things. If only I could swim. I just saw the first poem on there. This next one is about, did I lose my first job? I know I had it in there somewhere. And I didn't write about my first kiss, even though it was there. First car, yeah, I was just coming up with first, I don't know. I didn't write about my first car or my first kiss, which wasn't with you, sorry.
For confession. It wasn't?
It
wasn't?
What? What? This one is actually called Saving Fingers and Scooping Ice Cream. One summer day in August, I was 16 at the time. Sister Sandy and I were in the house. It was an average Thursday. Mom was out golfing. Dad was at Brother Bob's farmyard doing manly things, cutting wood or something. I was getting ready for a summer job interview that morning. The phone rang. I answered it, and suddenly there was a strange voice on the other line talking, asking, "Is your mother there?" And my first instinct was that it was my dad's friend Greg on the other line. He always liked to put on a fake voice and try to fool us kids. So I put on my most cordial voice and I said, "No, she's not. May I take a message?" And then the voice starts going on about how he's cut his fingers and he has to go to the hospital. And then it finally occurs to me that this is my father and he is in so much pain that he could barely speak. So he hangs up the phone, and Sandy and I try to call the golf course hoping to catch Mom, but she already left. And while we waited for her to come home, Dad came home to get us and bring us to the hospital with him. His hand was wrapped in a shirt, half soaked in blood. Sandy got in the wagon, but she told me to wait at home for Mom. So Dad whipped the car out of the driveway and down the road, and I stood in the driveway, suddenly alone, watching him drive away. I was so distraught. I started to cry, but I had to keep myself together because I didn't want to make it sound serious when I told Mom and make her actually more nervous. I didn't want her to cry. He cut his finger. He needs stitches, but he wasn't going to die. So I waited at the front window, and when I saw her car drive down the road, I went to the garage, and when she pulled up to the garage, I hopped on the passenger side before she turned off the engine. "Come on, let's go," I said with a smile on my face. I tried to preface the story with, "Let me just say that everything is fine," but you know when bad news is coming up. But I tried to make it sound funny, like Dad the Klutz cut his hand. I hope I did a good job. For 11 blocks, I was the one who had to make sure that everything was okay, being reasonable when Dad actually lost the tips of 2 fingers. But at that point, at least it was an interesting excuse to explain why I was late for my first job interview. And I got that job at this iconic ice cream parlor. Now, only boys were allowed to scoop ice cream there. So my job there was to work at their brand new candy counter. And one day I was at work with the boss and the deliveries were being dropped off and I picked up a larger box and the owner then just stopped me. Wait, that's heavy. You shouldn't carry that. And I laughed, explaining that I carried 50-pound salt blocks for our water softener, but I'm fine. I think maybe he's seeing that women can stand up for themselves, made it okay in the heat of summer when the line was going out the door for ice cream to let me leave the empty chocolate counter and be the first female there to ever scoop ice cream with the big boys. Looking back, you may say I'm some feminist pioneer for being the first female to scoop ice cream there, but when I look back, I don't see it that way. I just remember homemade chocolate ice cream with chocolate chips, molasses bits, and added fudge. And that, my friends, was whipped into the perfect shake, no matter which gender did the work. First kiss here because this next one. When I was thinking new beginnings, I thought about getting married. Premise is, you get married once, you stay the rest of your life. But that was my, well, that was my idea because I'm sticking here. So this one is new beginnings, getting married to my knight in shining armor. Once I got on my own, I was queen of the universe. I had a good job, and I had meaning and order and direction in my life. I used my brain, and I was invincible. I produced results. I needed no one. I thought I had it all in the palm of my hand. And once when I was driving to visit my parents, someone was texting while driving. And I saved a motorcycle's life by turning my wheels, but I couldn't save myself from two cars nearly killing me. A machine breathed for me for days. So much for being queen of the universe. All my life, I took care of myself. I still had the brains, I still had the power, but that doesn't matter when the tech market drops and you can't get or keep a job. And I suppose this is when you insert the storybook ending, where a knight in shining armor sweeps me off my feet. And it's true, though, that only when I was at the bottom that I met someone who could bring me along on a trip to the top, together. Suddenly the idea of marriage didn't seem so strange, didn't seem so scary. This is someone who is like me, and more importantly, is different from me. Because nobody knows what it's going to be like when they take their first steps together in this life. But if he can learn to tolerate poetry, I can learn to tolerate rifle ranges and target practice. He's my race car driver. He's my motorcycle man. Like the motorcyclist I saved the day I almost died. Maybe he's also my reward. So, although I don't know what will happen the day after the day of my wedding, I can't help but feel that the road before us must be clearing up. And if we tackle this ocean of life together, it'll be smooth sailing all the way. I'm actually going to play guitar. Where'd the guitar go?
Something I know how to do.
This one, instead of talking about it first, but I talked about first time for things. Someone actually suggested this poem about doing something for he said, this poem is called My First Time. There are some towns known for their food. And New Orleans has the po' boy, Philadelphia has the Philly cheesesteak. And if you're in New York and you want to carry some food out in the street, you better get a pizza slice, fold it in half, and eat it with one hand. And if you're in Chicago and you can't eat a deep dish pizza with one hand in the street, you better get a Chicago-style hot dog with yellow mustard, relish, the bright green kind, hot peppers, tomatoes, onions, celery salt, and a pickle on top. I lived in Chicago all my life, frequented the tops of skyscrapers, visited legendary blues bars. But even when I was a meat eater, I never ate a Chicago hot dog. Just ketchup, please, and I'll take the pickle on the side. I don't even like hot peppers. But when we left the planetarium today, I passed a Chicago-style hot dog vendor cart that listed vegetarian hot dogs as a choice for the Chicago hot dog. I passed it, and then I stopped. Walked back, asked for a vegetarian hot dog with everything except hot peppers. And no, ketchup is not included when you say with everything. And when I got this paper-wrapped vegetarian Chicago hot dog, I was tempted to pull the pickle away, and then they had to remind me, no, that's a part of the Chicago hot dog. So I put it all together, took a bite, and then I took another, and another. And I thought, I've been missing out on this fantastic Chicago tradition all of my life. I heard the Chicago hot dog started during the Depression because it was something cheap that you could sell on the streets, and it was a full meal. Meat, bread, vegetables, all at a reasonable price. And I thought, we Chicagoans have it all figured out, with a gooey deep dish pizza that you could have the time to sit down to eat, as well as a way to make any hot dog taste awesome when you always just wanted a treat on the streets. I have the stuff to make Chicago hot dogs for people. We couldn't get all the stuff. Hard to find the green relish.
Can't find the green relish.
Yeah, that's not fair. Do you need to put that down? Good. 356. Yeah, people who have the chapbook would see the next one is about first time for trying new things. John, when I was getting ready to jump out of an airplane, says, "You're a poet. Write something about jumping out of an airplane." So I actually have the date underneath it because this was written hours before I jumped out of an airplane. This is called Falling from the Sky.
It starts with whoops.
I'm taking a one-way flight today. And you know, when people say that they have a one-way ticket, you assume the plane is landing them somewhere and not flying them back. But lucky me, my only way back is to jump out of the sky and hope I can land on my own 2 feet. And my flight takes off in just a little while, and I can feel that tension knot, that knot's rope being pulled by all of my senses and all of my nerves. And it's like if it was heartburn, I just want to slam my fist into my chest to try to make the pain go away. So I've spent all my life trying to soar so high. But now that I'm there, I guess I have to be prepared for coming down to earth.
Boom.
Chapbook would see that there's a song next because I had to do my first song. But I want to save that for the end. I've got one poem and it's a thing about the future, and that's where I'm going to close with the poem. This one, because I had to talk about future and creativity, this is questioning creativity through the cosmos. When I think of the future, I think of astronomy, space, the final frontier. And you better believe that outer space is so poetic and all about the arts. NASA even had an artist in residence who learned that astronomers estimate that the moon's orbit every year pulls the moon farther and farther away from the Earth. So, if you remember the moon looking so big when you were little, well, you may have been right. Because if I think about it, maybe I'm not a writer, maybe I'm not an artist. Maybe I'm an observer, like an astronomer, learning about what makes everything, everything. Because molecule by molecule, we originate from the stars, and that makes us all linked by stardust. And like all stargazers who love astronomy, I assume I'll never actually go into outer space. But it occurred to me, I have. You ever talked ever on the radio or ever appeared on TV? Because all of those signals are shot out into space. They continue past our Earth toward the ends of the universe. I wonder what other stars have seen and heard my poetry by now. And I wonder if anything out there can decode our signals and understand what we say. Because I keep looking at these images, like from Hubble, these mind-boggling colors of galaxies and nebulas. But NASA's Arison residents talked about those telescope photos because when images come in, they're all completely digital. A series of ones, a series of zeros, and there's no color at all. Astronomers describe the cosmos as a vast black void. So scientists guess from the data how outer space should look. So they guess from radiation data when red is hot and blue is cold to make the images look their best. These outer space images are beautiful, but now they're literally an art form. The final frontier could be creative. Look at the evidence. Imagining, imaging, and astronomy, images are actually existential arts. Should I even be using the microphone for this, or no? No.
It's too loud. It's too loud.
The Wink Martindale mic isn't working for this. I can't believe this is the first song I've ever wrote. You've never heard it before? This is called "In Love I Abide." We started a commotion when you walked in the place. I was flooded with emotion when I first saw your face. And so I had to find out if there was a chance we could be. But I couldn't understand how you could only want me. And as time went by, our love grew stronger than before. But I never dreamt I'd get what I was wishing for. Yeah, so don't be afraid to let your feelings show. Because our love is staying, and I won't let you go. In love I abide, for to love I am bound, and I'll stay by your side with this love that I found. Well, you parted other people when you walked in the room. When I saw your eyes, blue eyes, I knew you would be mine soon. But I couldn't understand how I fell for you so fast. And I only hoped our feelings for each other would last. So do you believe that fate could make us feel this way? Because I know that a love like this is gonna stay. Yeah, so don't be afraid to let your feelings show. Because our love has stayed, and I won't let you go. In love I abide, for to love I am bound, and I'll stay by your side with this love that I found. And as time went by, our love grew stronger than before. But I never dreamt I'd get what I was wishing for. Yeah, so don't be afraid to let your feelings show. Because our love is stayed, and I won't let you go. In love I abide, for to love I am bound, and I'll stay by your side with this love that I found. So don't be afraid to let your feelings show. Because our love has stayed, and I won't let you go. In To love I am bound, and I stay by your side with this love that I find.